Sometimes the most terrifying moments don't begin with danger. They begin with carelessness. With that quiet, comforting illusion that nothing bad could ever reach you. That feeling settles inside you, and you start to like it. I was tired of people. I just wanted silence. That had always been the reason I loved being alone in nature. I believed that if I went far enough away, I would be safe. That distance itself could heal me psychologically. The farther you move from roads, signs, and human voices, the more the world seems to release you, as if it has forgotten you entirely. For a long time, I thought that was freedom. I only realized much later how thin the line is between being alone and being truly isolated. Whenever life felt too loud, I would go on solo hikes. No music, no glowing LED screens, no television, no computer, just the sound of my footsteps and my own thoughts. That trip happened near the end of autumn, the time when forests begin to empty, when even experienced campers avoid staying overnight. That was exactly why I chose it. Fewer people meant more peace. I drove 6 hours just to reach silence. The trail wasn't special, just a narrow path winding through old trees, fallen leaves covering the ground, pale daylight slipping through bare branches. By afternoon, the forest sank into a gray stillness. Time itself felt paused. I pitched my tent beside a small slope. A simple camp. Tent, small stove, and the comfort of being completely unreachable. I wanted to clear my mind. Detox. Reset. Night arrived almost instantly. Darkness behaves differently in deep forests. It doesn't slowly settle like it does in cities. It collapses all at once. One moment, you can still see between the trees. The next, everything becomes a solid wall of black. The silence grew heavier with it. No wind, no insects. It felt as if the world had been muted specifically for me. I fell asleep easily in that calm. What woke me wasn't a sound. It was the strange feeling that I had already been awake for a while, like when your body is still resting, but your mind suddenly switches on. The moment I opened my eyes, I knew something was wrong. Nothing had changed, yet everything felt different. The air felt heavier. Then I noticed the smell. Smoke, not strong, just the faint scent of a distant fire. I unzipped the tent and looked outside. Between the trees, downhill, there was an orange glow. Small, steady, controlled. It looked like a campfire, so someone else must have been nearby. At least, that's what I forced myself to believe. I waited to hear voices, laughter, movement, anything. Nothing came. The light simply remained there, unmoving. After watching it for several minutes, I convinced myself it was harmless and went back into the tent. Strangely, I even felt relieved. Knowing I wasn't completely alone calmed me. Morning erased that comfort. When I packed my gear and walked toward where the light had been, I expected ashes or a ring of stones. There was nothing. No burned ground, no footprints, not even disturbed leaves. It looked as if no one had been there for months. I checked the area again and again. I couldn't have imagined it. I had watched that fire for minutes, but the forest behaved as if it had never existed. At first, I laughed. Fatigue, I told myself. An optical illusion. Maybe moonlight. When people are alone long enough, their minds fill empty spaces. That explanation was enough to keep me moving. As the trail continued, the forest grew older. Trees stood closer together, their trunks darker. Sound behaved strangely. Every step echoed louder than it should have. Even my breathing felt foreign to the environment. Then, sometime in the afternoon, I noticed something unsettling. I was seeing my own footprints ahead of me. At first, I assumed the trail had looped, but the prints were too familiar. Same tread pattern, same worn heel mark. The problem was timing. The soil was still soft. Whoever made them had passed recently. When I stopped walking, the forest felt like it stopped too. That's when I realized I hadn't heard a single bird all day. I turned around, expecting another hiker. No one's there. Only endless rows of trees. I tried to find logical explanations. Someone with the same shoes. Someone who passed earlier. Until I noticed one detail. The footprints would disappear for several steps, then start again. As if whoever made them hadn't touched the ground for a while. I left the trail. Changed direction, hoping to calm my mind. I set up camp again in a small valley. Even though it was still early, I wanted to wait for night. This time, I didn't light a fire. The forest felt like it was watching. I didn't want to reveal my location. I ate cold food and lay inside my sleeping bag while darkness pressed against the tent walls. Hours passed. Then I heard it. Not footsteps, not branches snapping. Something heavy dragging across leaves. Slow, careful movement. It circled from a distance, then came closer. I held my breath. The sound stopped directly behind the tent. No breathing, no animal noise, just presence. I wanted to unzip the tent and look, but a deeper instinct told me not to. After a while, the sound moved away. I didn't sleep again that night. In the morning, while packing, I realized my small compass was missing. I searched everywhere inside my bag. Gone. I assumed I had dropped it the day before until I stepped outside. The compass stood on a rock a few meters from the tent. Upright, pointing north. The soil around it was untouched. That was the moment the hike ended, and the escape began. I didn't investigate. I didn't think. I grabbed it and started walking. Direction didn't matter anymore. I just needed distance. The forest felt different now. Shadows seemed to move. Several times I heard something traveling parallel to me. Never seen. Always there. By afternoon, I reached a service road. The sound of gravel beneath my boots almost made me cry. Civilization slowly returned. Tire tracks, a distant engine. Finally, another human being. Nothing followed me, at least not visibly. I still go into nature, but never alone anymore. People assume it's part of growing older. I never correct them. The real reason is harder to explain. Because what unsettles me most isn't that something existed in that forest. What terrifies me is the uncertainty. It never tried to harm me. It felt as if it only wanted me to understand one thing. It wanted to be alone, and didn't want me or anyone else there. I wanted solitude, but I was never as alone as I believed. And sometimes the most frightening truth isn't that something hunts you. It's that it notices you and chooses to let you go. If that can even be called leaving.